This is Gay Science. In today's episode, why do gay men talk like that? The gay voice.
Saturday's my name.
You can recognize it instantly.
And you're like, I love it.
Like, people still call me ma'am on the phone.
But what's the science behind this distinct vocal effect? Because they often congregate in earthquake zones, gay men harness a lot of energy. Excess energy that isn't spent relaying local drama passes to the vocal cords to initiate a high-frequency vibration. It's a pitch that all people can hear, but only gay men and Dolly Parton can understand. Sometimes these high-pitched sounds pass through the mouth to a lisp, caused by fagata dentata. This variety of gay voice is an elite form of communication, like echolocation in dolphins, and can throw sounds up to 10,000 miles away. Unfortunately, all men are bad listeners, so these messages are lost on them and are received exclusively by Dolly Parton, who's been quietly managing the chaos of hearing the voice of every gay man for decades.
Welcome to GayTalk 2.0, the ultimate podcast for your dose of ditch.
Good evening and welcome back to another episode of GayTalk 2.0, an LGBT podcast. We are streaming live on and in color on YouTube, on our YouTube channel for all of our Patreon subscribers. Today we're joined by Marcus James, author of Blackmoore, a paranormal suspense novel, the first book in the Blackmoore Legacy series, and he will join us on the second half of the show. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm in the studio with my amazing co-host, starting with the first one.
Hey, y'all, Nick or Trish.
And
J Bear, a.k.a. Boyfriend's Boyfriend.
And to welcome you all back to the show. Thank you for joining us. We're going to dish a little bit before we bring our guest on, so we are excited. Again, you're on point, Trish.
Why?
You are killing us with these guests. It's like one after the other. We didn't have one for like 6 months, and then she's like, boom, 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 boom.
She pulled out the little black book and started making calls.
She did something.
She
Did you
did
get late or something? I don't know. You're very efficient as of late.
Yeah.
He's like, whatever.
And maybe a little manual manipulation.
Anyway, we're here. We're at the round table, so I'm
Did
of
you
course.
get laid?
Did you get
God,
laid?
I wish.
Well, since we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been doing in the past week, I'm going to toss it over to you, Trish. Question: did you get laid today, or at all? Or,
No comment.
no comment from the peanut gallery, I suppose. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. At least.
I plead the fifth.
You're gonna need 6 for that.
I plead 69th.
And the 69. So no, but seriously, how are you?
Oh, God. Lots of crazy shit has happened.
Yes.
Lots of crazy shit.
A lot of shit that's happening. We're under attack, but we'll get to that in a minute. But overall, before we get into all the hot mess that's been happening in our community, you good?
Yeah. Great news, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we start with the great news before we move into the kind of craziness that is our lives?
Yeah. I've been working on a grant for like feels like a year and a half or longer. And yesterday we found out that we got it.
That's amazing.
5 million.
Yeah, it's a big number.
That's a huge number.
Yeah.
Hey, Zaddy.
And I'm like, can I get a raise, a vacation? Can I get a break, motherfucker? Thank you.
Wow.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. So today, it's the day after we found out, and my boss pretty much said, okay, well, you got me the 5 million. You can go now.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I can.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye.
Bye. We'll see you around. See you around the beat. We'll be at some point.
And then I went to a gala this weekend, which was fun. We had a nice time. We saw a bunch of people. Sunday I tried to rest and recover, and now we're back in the thick of the week.
Arrest too. Oh, I'm sorry. Rest and recover.
Yeah. Sorry, I popped
Said,
I thought he said
rest.
arrest.
So I popped a pimple, and now my lip is swollen because it's like right below my lip.
That's causing a lisp.
Yeah. Sorry, Dolly Parton.
It's like
She's probably listening.
the gay lisp.
So that intro, by the way, was fucking hilarious because it's true. Only
Brought to you by This Is Gay Science.
right. It's fucking insane. Sorry, we used your audio, but it was funny. We had to. But it's true, man. Dolly Parton, man.
Yeah.
She's a national treasure.
Yeah. And we
You
all
know.
live on fault lines, so we have
Pretty
excess
much.
energy.
We're absorbing that energy. So, it's funny because Dolly Parton is one of among the few.
That's probably why she got those extra tips to help bounce some of the sound away.
Reverberate.
Yeah.
Reverberate.
The gay rainbow. Here you go, guys. No, but there aren't many country artists that I see as gay icons, and Dolly Parton is certainly one of them. I think like, for example, Shania Twain is another one that's like super ostentatious, and I love her for it. And then I don't watch The Voice often. Like, I'll catch a few episodes here and there throughout the year, but this year I have Reba as one of the coaches, and I loved the show Reba. But I've been watching it, and she's fucking hilarious. But she calls herself the Queen of Country, and so she arrived on the show with her crown and her sap, and she's like banging the guy next to her that keeps trying to steal all her singers away, and she's just so sassy, and I fucking live for it.
Yeah, she's pretty
I
great.
fucking love Reba. But yeah, hey Bird, how are you?
Good. Good.
All is well in the land of Oz?
All is well in the land of us. I was going to say something about what Nick was talking about, and I totally lost it. Should have written that damn thing down.
What, the
No, never
big,
mind.
the
It's
big
gone.
bosoms?
And I'm trying to see if I could juggle my brain, but I lost
Was it about the money?
Never mind. I can't remember right now. I'm having one of those senior moments today. But anywho,
we have places for that.
yeah, we do.
I'm just saying. We can put you in one of those. We'll bring the show to you, darling.
Yeah, sure you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Whenever, honey, I'll make sure one way or another you get recording. You don't remember who you are, but we do.
We do. Come
So
here,
interesting.
crazy bastard.
So
I
all is
totally.
good?
You know how you kind of get that initial thought, and you're like, "Oh," and then I was like, "Okay, let him finish." And I should have just.
See, this is why you interrupt.
Yeah,
people.
that's why you gotta interrupt
You
sometimes.
don't shut the fuck
Learn
up.
from the best.
You just let it out
Yeah.
before it's gone.
But yeah, it was a decent weekend. But I think the more exciting news, congratulating Chris, I guess, right?
That's right. That is
Who?
right. Yes.
I'm not acknowledging
I'm
this.
not acknowledging.
She's just bitter Betty right now
Yeah.
because Chris got engaged
She.
He actually-
before she did.
and
So
they-
Chris Mattoon, our once upon a time co-host, because we don't know when he's ever coming back.
He's not.
Where is he right now?
He's in Belgium.
Belgium, or wasn't he in like
Germany?
in one
Where
of
in the world is Chris?
he was in
Mattoon?
Norway.
Yeah. I'll tell
What,
you.
Norway?
I think so. Yeah.
So anyway, this asshole, it's 2:00 in the morning here. It's 2 p.m. for him on the
3
other,
a.m. I think it was
Right.
when all the messages came.
and
in.
he's sending video left and right on Snapchat. And my notifications, I'm not like you. I'm not smart like you. I don't silence my notifications
Oh,
because
girl, she's silent.
so I don't do that. And it's 3:00 in the morning, and my phone is going off, and it's fucking Chris every 5 minutes sending a video about something cool that he's seeing in the mountains somewhere, or on a train, or what he's eating, or who he's with,
Or
And-
who he's eating.
or
Yeah.
and
Well, I got to give him this much. There
What?
are no drunk pictures of him sleeping in bushes yet. So
right, which is.
it's a big step up for him.
But I think that's because he's got a publicist now,
Yeah.
right? Steven is his publicist. Steven wouldn't allow him to look, bad in any light at this point, unless Steve himself gets wasted, and then Steve can't do his
Forgets it,
duties,
right?
and that's a whole different story. But yes, ladies and gents, Christopher, our very own Chris, got engaged today, literally, while he's out there in Northern Europe somewhere doing his thing.
And there better be diamonds in that ring, or it doesn't count.
Oh,
Sorry.
And your friends are horrible. Horrible. The
But-
worst friends ever to go with while you're going to go propose.
Well, this is the
Like-
picture he sent us. Who knows? But
Yeah, so it's
it's
such
a cute
it's,
picture though. You see his
you see his
fiancé
face. Yeah, but it's all blurry. It's
Dolly
like,
Parton definitely heard
Yeah,
that.
she heard that. You can see the look in her face of surprise
Mhm.
and shock. It's cute. It's
Yeah.
cute. but congratulations.
I don't know. It's also there's fear there.
There's like, oh my God, am I really gonna do this?
Hey, it's already done.
It's till death do us part.
Not yet. No, I'm happy for him.
We are. No,
and then she claims she's getting married out there.
Right. So, you know, I just got my passport, so I'll go. I'll go stay at Hans.
Oh.
Hans will kick me out in 2 days.
In 2 days.
It's like, not even 2 hours. Bitch, you got to go.
He's like, I'm sorry, where are you staying tonight?
And his like, you know.
My neighbor has a nice barn about 600 miles that way.
He'll put me on that speed train somewhere. He'll send me to Italy somewhere. No, but for real, congratulations. And we're happy for you. If I get an invite, I'll RSVP with a maybe, because that's a commitment. You know, I still have to take my 50th trip first before I go anywhere else.
I think she'll be married before your 50th.
Oh, I know. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know.
Oh, my 50th is...
I can't spend my Bora Bora funds. I've been saving every paycheck. I've been putting money aside for my Bora Bora funds. Because it's going to happen.
You're putting extra for me, right? Because I'm not...
No, bitch.
You just got $5 million.
Not for me.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You can pay for the whole goddamn trip.
Isn't there like a finder's fee for that shit?
I was trying to get one, but that didn't work out.
I'm gonna like call and do a group booking and be like, charge it to the theater.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I literally started crying. Such a little bitch.
You're such an emotional mess, and I love it.
So
I live for it, which is good.
That's awesome.
But you know, that's also a sign of being successful and being, you know, because you are very tenacious in your job. And you're also very, you don't take shit from anyone. You don't give up, and you don't take no for an answer. And that's exactly what you need to be when you're raising money for an organization.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Bitch, I will show up in your fucking soup, in your alphabet soup. I'll be letter O with my face in the middle. Where's my money, bitch?
I honestly think that we got it because they were like, we just don't want to hear from these people anymore.
Here you go. We'll throw you a lifeline. No, but it's seriously, congratulations to you. Congratulations to Chris and all that good stuff. Now,
and congratulations to you. You had another come to my window this week.
I did. Well, it wasn't come to my window. That at this point now that, you know, COVID is behind us, he's allowed in the house. So
come to my glory hole now.
Come to my love sack.
Exactly. Spread your legs. Let me get down into you.
Oh,
no,
boy.
oh my God. If you were us right now, she'd probably murder us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Or write a new song.
True.
All right.
Of how horrible the GayTalk boys are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would be a hit.
Yeah.
And then we would use it for our opener.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we do have a couple of things that we wanted to address before we go to break and bring our guest in. You know, make no mistake, our community, all of our communities are under attack. For us, it was a little bit more real. It hit closer to home in a way that was very tangible, very scary, and also very real. This Saturday, we were supposed to be celebrating Pride in the New Haven area, compliments, of course, of the hard work of the New Haven Pride Center. And in the midst of all that celebration, you know, we decided, you know, because of the storm that we were also getting, that they were going to postpone some of the event itself that was happening in the area. And to put a cherry on top of the whole situation of the fact that we couldn't celebrate because of weather, the New Haven Pride Center bomb threat. And
She sure did.
And that is scary all on its own. Again,
It's actually one of 3 organizations in the Northeast to receive a bomb threat on the same day.
right. And it's shocking because this would have been, had that storm not been here, we would have been actively having an event and we would have gotten a bomb threat and the events would have needed to be canceled. And, you know, whether people were there because or not, because this happened early on in the day, it still also affected the neighboring community. right? Because
the entire
Pride,
block had to be
the Pride
evacuated,
Center is surrounded by residential buildings, and so the entire block had to be evacuated. But to me, it's just horrible that this is where we're at, right? And we think to ourselves, we live in a blue state.
We live in fucking Connecticut in 2023. And I'm just like, wow.
And this is happening, So you're on the board of the New Haven Pride Center.
Bitch, I am the co-chair of the board.
She's the co-chair of the board. Excuse me.
Give me my credit.
I got to get her status before she gets me.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what that was like.
It was fucking terrible.
For you, the staff, and for everyone involved. I mean, celebrating Pride in New Haven is a big thing.
So the staff ended up actually taking today off. I think a lot of people were traumatized just like having to be in the space. Even I had to go to the space yesterday for a meeting. We don't need to talk about what the meeting was about, but I was in the space yesterday and it kept going in my head, what if there's still a bomb in here? And so we actually closed the center on Tuesday so that the staff could kind of just like take a moment.
Right. Which is important.
Yeah. But it was really scary. And the fact that like, they had to shut the street down. Obviously the executive director sent me a message as soon as this all happened. And so I'm like, fuck, like, do you need me to come down there? And he was like, luckily my co-chair was already downtown. She's like, I got it. I'll be there. Don't worry about it. I was like, okay. And so I stayed home and JC and I, the executive director and Hope, were working on a statement. The art council and they wrote a little piece about it. There's been a lot of coverage around the whole situation, and to be fair, the police have been so supportive,
right?
And they offered their services for when we do reschedule next month. They are going to sweep the space early in the morning before the event for free, and offer their services for the event for free. But the
idea that we need to do that. It's 2023, right? That we have to go through that.
Well, I think the hardest part, and like it's not going to be public, and I'm not going to share it on the show. I think the hardest part was how the email was worded and what the reasoning behind the thought behind their attempt or their scare was, and it was just deplorable and disgusting. And like, I just, to this day, I'm like, how can people feel that way?
Right.
Like, how can people still look at homosexuality as, how do I word this without homosexuality as a threat?
Right.
To their families, to children, to their way of life. It's just not that. I mean, if you look historically, homosexuals only make everything better.
Seriously.
I'm not kidding you. Better food.
I mean, look
better
at Dolly.
Clothes, better fucking culture.
Dolly.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like,
Cher. She is totally sucking out the energy of the community just to stay alive.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
She's Winifred Sanderson from Hocus Pocus. She's sucked the lives out of children. No, but in all seriousness, so what I don't understand is how can so much hate exist on something that really doesn't affect these individuals at all. The way I live my life has no effect in yours whatsoever. Like what I do in my own home is no business of yours. Who I decide to love is no business of yours. It doesn't affect you in any way. Why go through all this hate? For what?
Well, I mean, we are definitely in blue state.
Yes.
We also have to remember that Connecticut also has quite a decent population of Nazi affiliated white supremacy individuals.
Right.
I don't think they're as prevalent in the news until something like this happens usually. Right. They don't get a whole lot of coverage, but every so often they kind of pop up their weird looking heads.
looking.
I mean, it's unfortunately, and it's it's something that we really need to be cautious about. And it was a good thing that, in a way, that we were already we as in
we
in general
postponed.
we're considering to postpone the event because of the weather, but.
And to be like transparent, there was no actual bomb.
No,
nothing was found. But at the same time, I think the attempt here was to ruin the event, but they were not aware that it had already been postponed. But we have to take something like that very fucking seriously, especially with social and social and political climate right now.
Right,
absolutely.
Which doesn't help. I mean, you've got political people who are actually actively, in public service roles,
almost empowering this fucking rhetoric.
Exactly, and going after members of our community in all kinds of situations and states. I mean, a couple of months ago, you couldn't, turn on a news channel without seeing news about some drag queen story time being canceled because of some, idiot. 2 years ago, it was, our transgender community and their inability to serve in the military because, 3+ years ago, because of, former President Dumbfuck, and his ban on transgender military folks from serving. And, and the rhetoric doesn't stop. I mean, you have people like, for example, Elton John in the UK. He blasted the UK secretary, the UK Home Secretary, for suggesting that LGBTQ plus people, LGBTQ plus refugees should not qualify for asylum. Mm-hmm. So if you're a member of the LGBTQ plus community and you're coming from a country that would kill you for being a member of our community, that you should not be able to apply for asylum. But what the kicker is that, Elton John joined a growing chorus of critics blasting the UK Home Secretary, her name is Suella Braverman, for suggesting that, members of our community, that, they shouldn't be able to apply for asylum. And she was speaking, out of all places, to a right-wing American Enterprise Institute, the AEI, in Washington, D.C., when she said that. So not only do we have our own people in our own country talking about, all of this rhetoric of anti-gay this, anti-gay that, and beating up on our community, we have people from other countries coming to our country and giving seminars on how to fucking do it. Which is like, it's like...
Honestly, what this is, to me, is that the world is really fucked up. Our country's really fucked up. There's so many issues. And I'm not going to compare it to historic things, but it's scapegoating. They're trying to find and pigeonhole a community and distract the American people or any people in the country from the real problems and pinpoint, like, this is an actual problem that we need to focus on.
Absolutely.
And that's what's going on.
Right.
They're pulling a veil over people's eyes.
Because they have nothing, right? This, for example, the Republican Party in Congress right now, they have nothing. No substantial legislation, nothing that can help even the smallest of subsections of the American people. They have nothing on the books. Absolutely nothing. And so they need to stir the pot, find a scapegoat, because guess what? Election's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's all about, let's get them all riled up, let's get them hating each other, and then we'll come on top on the other end. We'll deal with that when we get there, right? It's just bullshit, really.
It's a distraction technique, and again, you get people fighting over certain things that technically shouldn't be even discussed, right?
Right.
And they go around and they, make changes to laws and pass all these BS bills while everybody else is caught up in some nonsense that they created. So they stir the pot, or better yet, they muddy the waters. And as you're trying to figure out what the hell's underneath, they're on the other side, building a bridge. So, you really have to be careful and pay attention to the politics at hand, the dirty works.
It's just disgusting. So here's what I have to say to our community here in Connecticut.
What is that?
Pride is going to get rescheduled.
Yes.
And it's going to happen.
Yes.
And you fucking bitches better turn the fuck up. Better be packed. You can stare at someone and give them COVID. That's how packed I want to see it. That's how packed I want to see it, because I want to see and I want to show these assholes who think that it's okay to send bomb threats to a community that is not help community, that they think that's okay. We want to show them that, you know what, you're not going to scare us.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to, stop us from doing what we need to do to provide the critical services for our community that is out of that Pride Center. So
I do have to say, wow, that was like a horrible moment. There are good people out there. And I've seen a huge outpouring of support.
Right.
To the extent at which there have been people that have reached out because they want to help support finding us a more secure and visible location, donors and different individuals. And it's sad that it takes something like that
right.
to make, community members realize that it's time to step up.
Right.
But at the same time, just like, when there's anything negative, I always it always takes a moment, but there is always a silver lining, right?
Of course there is. I mean, it's like a phoenix, right? From its ashes, it rises again, I don't want to use it.
Well, actually, that's a perfect fucking example. Over this past, it's going to be a year since we let the executive director go next month, and that's a perfect example of this fucking past year.
Yeah, from the ashes, a new beginning. So, but yeah, turn the fuck up, because it's gonna happen, and we'll obviously post it on our Facebook page to let everybody know when it's happening. And they're going to be posting it. If you're not following the New Haven Pride Center on Facebook, you should. Especially if you live in our community, and if you're not supporting the New Haven Pride Center, you totally should. Especially if you live in Connecticut, because they're one of the few organizations that still exist in Connecticut that are helping our community and our youth. So make sure that you take care of them. Whew. That was a very intense first half. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, of course, we have our guest that is going to join us, of course, Marcus James. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right. Well, ladies and gents, thank you so much for allowing us to take that break. We needed it. And, now we're coming back. Joining us now, of course, is Marcus James. He's the author of Blackmoore, a paranormal suspense novel, the first book in the Blackmoore Legacy series. We're excited to have him join us on the show. I'm going to bring him into the live stream and welcome him.
Might want to unmute his channel.
Just want to make sure. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to have you on. We were just on break, and we were like, oh my God, we're running around going crazy. And I'm like, I don't see him on the stream. I hope he got the link. But you did.
Oh yeah, just making sure everything jived with I don't do video through my laptop often, so it's just kind of trial and error to get used to it and everything.
Well, welcome to the experience.
Yes, thank you.
So before we get started, I just want to give my co-host and myself, obviously, an opportunity to introduce ourselves, just in case you don't know who's who. So why don't we start with you?
I'm Nick, or on the show, Trish.
We call him Trish, yeah. And J Bear.
J Bear, or AKA your boyfriend's boyfriend.
He's a slut.
I know many.
I know.
And I'm Tom. I produce the show. And once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's Tom the intern.
The intern, that's right. You see? This is what they do to me.
Wow.
So before we get started, Marcus, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what do you do?
Yeah, so my name's Marcus James. I'm an author. Primarily, I write gothic horror, queer gothic horror, psychological thrillers, basically anything spooky, I write it. I live in Tacoma, Washington, which is just outside of Seattle, but I'm from all over the state and lived many places. and a lifelong LGBT rights activist. I started the state's first ever GSA back in 1998 when I was 14. Me and my best friend in high school, and I've just been an activist ever since. I worked for Equal Rights Washington. I have been a uh, lifelong HIV/AIDS activist. So just kind of run the gambit. On top of that, write books, write, like I said, mostly horror fiction. It's kind of where my passion is at, and specifically to write and speak to the gay experience, and especially the gay femboy experience, because I think for all of us who grew up with more than a little sugar in the tank and a swish in the step, you know, we didn't have a lot of heroes growing up, and we were either the victim that needed to be saved, or we were the comic relief, or we were just the tragic special character episode who dies at the end to teach the main characters a lesson about love and equality. And I just didn't like that. So I devoted my life and my career to the idea of writing characters who the heroes are young gay men, specifically effeminate young gay men, because yeah, I wanted a hero and they weren't there, so I made them myself.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I love that.
So, so you have written many books.
Yes.
Already. I think you have 5 books that
9
are published. 9. Oh.
I
think the press kit needs a little updating.
yeah.
9 books. 9 books. That you've written so far. But is this book here that we have, Blackmoore, the first series that you've written? Because this is the first book.
Yeah. So Blackmoore, so this is the second edition of Blackmoore. So that's now been re-released, and every author kind of can't wait for a second edition moment, because not only is it a chance to kind of breathe new life into a series that's been around for a while, but also you kind of get to go in and fix things and that you didn't catch the first time, and it's a great experience. And but Blackmoore originally came out in the end of 06, 07. It's set in December of 2007. And so far there's been a sequel, Symphony for the Devil, and a 2-part prequel called Rise of the Nephilim and Fall of the Nephilim. And but this is like the first series that, like, and the only series that I really have. There are a couple other novels I've written, for example, called Instructions in Flesh, which takes place in the Blackmoore world, and that will probably have 2 or more books based, like sequels to it, but that's way down the road. So right now, Blackmoore, yes, is my only series that I'm working on.
So where did the inspiration for, because this book is obviously fiction. I love LGBTQ plus sci-fi fiction. I read it all the time, or I generally listen to audiobooks. But where did the inspiration for this Blackmoore world or concept come from?
So I grew up in this town called Bellingham, Washington. Oh, did I lose you guys?
No, we're still here. You're
okay.
Featured. You're featured.
Oh, okay. I was like, why did you disappear? Okay. Technology. What era is this? I'm not sure. Anyway, so I grew up in a town called Bellingham, Washington, which is where most of my books are set, including Blackmoore, in the neighborhood of South Hill. It's a place, like in my books, it's up about 40 minutes from the Canadian border. Kind of your last stop on the way out. Western Washington University is located up there. And it's this kind of vortexy, spooky place where everyone believes in ghosts. Every house is haunted. Every building has a story. It's like New Orleans or Savannah, but not as famous in any way, but just as haunted. And so I grew up in South Hill in these old homes with my spooky family, hearing and learning about all the ghosts. There is a character in the novel, Queen Mab, who is her nickname it's from Mabel Blackmoore, and she is the main character, Trevor Blackmore's great aunt, and she is based off my great aunt Alice, and they live in the same house, the same great Victorian Queen Anne. So I just drew from what I knew, and of course, when you kind of grow up with that, and you grow up with, like, I had a young mom, and her siblings were all like teens and in their early 20s. Same thing with like my cousins and second cousins. So I grew up, as a lot of kids did, in the late 80s. Well, I was born in 84, so mid to late 80s through the 90s, horror movies. And I was exposed to a lot of that, and I just loved spooky stuff. And I loved the legends about where I grew up. And as I got older, I discovered Dark Shadows, which was a wonderful Gothic soap opera that got revived in 1991. And unfortunately, the Gulf War happened 5 minutes before it premiered. So the show never really got a chance to be as amazing as it could have been, the revival. And then, of course, Anne Rice. And then just everything and anything about witches. And that all just culminated one night in a dream. I just had a dream about a boy with dark red hair, a little boy doing automatic writing in a room, like a old playroom filled with like candles. And I just woke up and I just started writing that morning. I didn't know where it was going to go.
So all that said, what is Blackmoore about? What can your readers expect when they pick this book up?
So Blackmoore follows this character, Trevor Blackmoore, and he's 17 years old, and he is gay, and he grows up in this neighborhood, South Hill, and it's all very old moneyed. All the families know each other, and his family has been there for 100 plus years, and they've always been rumored to be witches and feared that they're in league with the devil. And that kind of changed in the 1980s when Trevor's mother kind of became popular and kind of normalized the family. And Trevor grew up, everything was fine. And then, unfortunately, after his father passed, when he was a young kid, things just kind of took a turn. So when we catch with him, the friends he grew up with are no longer in his life. And he realizes that not only is he just like this clairvoyant medium who can speak to spirits, but there's a lot more going on within his family. And as the story develops, not only does he have these diabolical machinations he has to deal with his former friends, Sherry Hannafin, Greg Shear, and Christian Vasquez, who are super popular. They're like the golden gods, and also make his life hell every day. And so not only is he dealing with like the drama of that, but then he also discovers that there's a lot more going on with his family, including this very dark and ancient evil. It's like this dark god of the wood is what they call him. And he is basically a deity that's so old that his name has been forgotten. But his presence has always been felt, and he is coming for the family. And we just kind of come into the story right when everything blows up. And Trevor learns that he is the one chosen to save his family, to save the world from this evil, and learn that he comes from this family of witches, that they're not just peculiar and psychic, but they're actually witches, and very deeply so. And it's just an exploration of a lot of great things. Plus, there's a lot of hot gay romance in it, so you can't forget about that.
But speaking of like the hot gay romance and homosexuality that's thread throughout this book, how did you go about doing that? Like, how when we think about like sci-fi books, we think about the storyline, we think about, there's a pivotal moment, then there's like a traumatic incident, but then this thematic part of his homosexuality is so actually vital within the book. How did you thread that through so clearly, and why was that so important?
So for me, my being gay has just always been a matter of fact. I couldn't escape it. I remember I tried once in kindergarten. I was like, oh, or no, preschool, and I was like, that girl's my girlfriend because she
was
looks like
honey,
She-Ra.
no.
Yeah, because she looked like She-Ra. And then I think I tried again when I was like in junior high in 7th grade. I think I like asked a girl out for all of 24 hours. It was just a weird. There was no way I could ever pull it off.
Yeah, it would have
And
been like 2 hours for me. That was it.
yeah,
would've been
no,
good
I
2
mean, no
hours
one
for me.
believed it. I mean, I'm surprised either girl said yes. I mean, one was preschool, so that's fine. I mean, I can't blame her. What does she know? She still eats rocks. But like, what? But like in middle school, like still can't understand why that. Because even everybody was like, Marcus, you're going out with him now, really, Marcus? Like, and then of course, like, 24 hours later, she's like, yeah, no, this. I don't know why I said yes to this.
Yeah,
So
I think I had someone kick me in the balls. It was a girl. Her name was Jessica. Never forget her name. And I was in kindergarten. She kicked me so hard in the balls I couldn't breathe. And after that, I was like, no, we're just not going to do this anymore.
We're just not going down that road. The women are sharp. Yeah, no. So I just couldn't escape it, and I was always teased and made fun of. I was horribly gay bashed throughout most of my adolescence and young adulthood, severely so. And I always paid a price for being out, but I always felt like, well, I can't hide, and it's exhausting to even bother trying when you can't get away with it. So I just have always just kind of been. And so when I started writing, seriously writing, when I was in high school, at first, I didn't write about gay stuff, at all. It was because I was afraid to like go there. I didn't know how to tackle homosexuality or the subject of it. And then Anne Rice's son, Christopher Rice, came out with a novel called The Density of Souls. And I read it and I was like, holy shit, this is my life. And, you can write about gay stuff and they don't have to be vampires. You don't have to hide it in something. You can just write about gay stuff.
Right.
And it's not like I didn't know that, but I felt like all the gay stuff, all the gay lit and stuff I had read before that, was written by people way older than me.
And women.
And
so many.
Yeah. And then Chris comes out and he's like 21 and I'm 16. So he was so close to my age that it conceptualized for me, just sit down and actually just write about being gay. Like you can do it and you don't have to have gone through AIDS and Stonewall and everything. Like you're just here. So it just always ended up being matter of fact. Trevor was going to be gay. Yes, he was going to have his issues, but I didn't want it to be within his family because his family, I wanted them to be really cool. And so they just didn't care. And Trevor was never going to apologize for it. And that always was important, is that as long as you write characters who are never apologetic of who they are, then naturally that will find its way through the entire narrative.
Right.
Whether you map it or not, or go on with a mission or a message that you're trying to deliver, the character will do it themselves just by being honestly, authentically who they are.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've always loved sci-fi. I've always loved like witches and stuff like that, and I've read books about stuff like that throughout my entire life. But a couple of years ago, probably like around the time we probably started the show, I found all of these books about these, whether it's Nephilim, whether it's werewolves.
And I just want to mention it's more than a couple of years. We've been on the air for 7. Just saying.
But like there are all these fun stories that like enticed me, and the storyline was there and it was strong and it was like I'm so committed to this storyline. But then having those characters that are gay, it means like the world to us. It's almost like it pulls you in that much more because you can relate to the characters while enjoying the story.
Yeah, and I wanted people to come away from it. From all of my books, all of my characters, what I want people to come away from them is, especially if you're young and gay, especially if you got a swish in your step, that you don't need to be rescued. You don't need to be rescued. And in the end, your queerness is your power. And that's so, like you said, very integral in the series. Trevor's queerness. I mean, it's why things go great and also at the same time go really wrong for him and his family because of the power of his queerness.
Right.
And I think that's amazing. And I think that in all of my books, it's been important that I've had the straight characters almost cower before the power of a character's queerness.
Well, hello.
And yeah,
that's how
exactly.
But you know,
exactly.
you're very intentional too.
Really important that kids walked away always from my books, or any person. It's not like I really write for young people, but even though they might be younger, they're not young books. But I want readers to always walk away from it realizing that that they not only at the end of the day are the only ones who can save themselves, but you have the power to not only change the world, but you can save it.
Right.
And we queer people have been saving society and the world for quite a while, especially in the 20th century.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier.
And we literally go under the radar. So,
correct.
But what I wanted to mention to you is that you're being very intentional in uplifting and giving space to queer individuals that are, tend to be what some in our community think of the less desirable. People who are effeminate, people who are who could have, like you said, a very distinct swish in your step, or and I noticed that choosing words matter, right?
Yeah.
And so as I'm going through the material in the book, you're referring to your characters as witches, regardless if they're male or female.
Correct.
Right? And in most stories about witches are female, warlocks are male, right? Was that intentional?
Yeah, so I'm a witch. Have been my whole life. And as in my whole life. And a witch just means wise person. Witch has never had gender connotation originally. It wasn't until Christianity and all that stuff, and patriarchy, misogyny, and when all of our goddesses and gods became demons and devils and all this stupid BS. So for me, as a witch, as a proud witch, and there's so many gay witches and gay pagans out there, and what I call anointed sons. Back in the day, a lot of the goddess temples, and we're talking, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 years ago, and the temples of a lot of the goddesses, especially the witch goddesses, the only men who are allowed to be priests within the temple and serve within her temple were of the light toe variety. If you were just like a British straight man, like, good luck serving in the temple of Hecate. Like, you had to have a touch of the sacred feminine. And there has been a loss, like during the witch trials, for example, if you were in the Inquisition, etc., which all kind of wrote in together, one right after the other. If you were a sodomite, if you were a homosexual male, it wasn't like you were a witch, a man or a woman who they saw as like signed to deal with the devil. You were a demon in the body of a human. Homosexuality, sodomy, you were a demon. You were possessed. You were not redeemable. Right. So we were executed. If you weren't accused of a witch, I mean, usually if you were a sodomite, you were just kind of a witch by default, but then like also a demon. So not only were you like executed, but it didn't matter if you asked for forgiveness or not. Unlike the accused witches, you were condemned no matter what. So we've had this long history within the occult persecutions and the witch movements by being accused of witchcraft, and also by being actual demons on earth to tempt men into sodomy, into sin, to follow the devil. Very, very messed up stuff. And there's a reclamation that's happening now amongst a lot of gay witches, gay pagans, who, you know, we grew up with the craft, and we grew up, a lot of us, you know, if they weren't born into it, if they discovered it because of that, you know, we all have memories of going to our first magic shop, or maybe all the best you could do is Hot Topic and get some stuff there. And now, as we're adults, there's this huge movement of really reclaiming and claiming really our space within the witchcraft world, and to not be overlooked, because we have a place within witchdom. We have a long historical place, just as women do, and there's a reason we keep going hand in hand, gay men and women. There's a reason throughout time, and this is part of it. The divine sacred mysteries is part of it. And so a warlock means oath breaker or betrayer, and there are pagans, male pagans, who are like trying to reclaim that word. Good for them. I think it's a gross word. I think it's disgusting. I don't even think it sounds nice. I mean, witch, and then like warlock. It sounds like something that needs to be popped. So that's kind of how I feel about it. And so it was just important to make sure that it was always established. Men and women are both witches. It doesn't matter.
And the other thing too, I mean, when you're thinking about the characters that you're writing and the space that you're giving for representation of you know, what I would consider a true queer person, that, you know, manifest in whatever light we are allowed to, and can swish in any direction we are allowed to.
As we should.
It's a beautiful thing, because most stories are always written, you know, from the perspective of your heteronormative, macho acting ideal of what people think a man, even if they're gay, should be in any story, right? And
it's the hetero gaze. Stealing a line from Toni Morrison, I just always, and she said, you know, it applies to kind of any marginalized person, but she of course was talking about the white man's gaze. But she talked about the freedom of writing from the white man, the freedom of writing out from under the white man's gaze, and just writing authentically Black, and not having to worry about translation or explain it to white people. And that's exactly how I've always approached my work. I obviously want everyone to read my stuff, and I would love, I'm gay, straight, bisexual, trans, doesn't matter. Right. But when I'm writing, I am not writing with the thought of, will a straight person understand this? Will they like it? Will this offend them? Will this gross them out? Because I can be very raunchy when it comes to the sex scenes.
And there's nothing wrong with raunch.
No, celebrate eroticism. My first publishing contract, I was a contract writer writing gay erotica for Allison Books. So
it's funny because I want to go back to what I said earlier really quickly about always seeing all these women authors writing these gay romantic sci-fi love stories, and like some of them are really great. There are some authors that are really, really great, but then we get to the sex scene, I'm like, how the fuck, like what the fuck is happening right now? Like, are you watching porn to write this? Like, I'm sorry, and I hope I don't get slammed for this, but a gay male perspective is very different when you approach that moment in the storyline.
So for me, that actually is kind of a sore subject for me, only because I have seen as of late, and as of late, I mean in the past decade or so, that it seems to be almost every book that reaches the bestseller list that happens to have gay male characters, is about a gay, whatever, romance, whatever, is written by straight women. Yes. And publishers, the big five, and if anyone's watching, I'm saying this now. Listening, saying this now, and it's true.
You can even say their names.
Right. They are fine with publishing books now, gay romance, gay horror, books with gay male characters, gay main characters, if they are written by straight women. And it is an idealized fantasy of what straight women see our lives and our romances and our histories to be. They don't live our histories. They don't know our histories. They don't know the complications and nuances of our existence. And yet, because they write for two straight women who fetishize us, and I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it. It's a fetishization of us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read all of these. And sure, there are some that feel compassionate and genuine in their want to be honest, but it's not written for me. It's not speaking to me or to my community, or to even though we all grow up and live different lives as queer people, we have shared experience, psychic similarity in our existence as queer people in the world and what that meant growing up. And there are just things I can say, oh, when I was a kid, I felt this or that. And you're going to go, me too. Oh, I know exactly. I had that moment too in school, and it involved da-da-da-da-da. And these make up the whole of who we are.
Yeah.
And that is missing. And a lot of great stuff, red, white, royal blue, great stuff. But it's not authentically us. And then the people who are us writing our stories, we are not getting published.
Yeah. I to be honest, and I know that we have to move on and wrap this up.
Yeah, sorry.
No, somebody, the person, the one author that actually roped me into this world of sci-fi LGBTQ storylines is TJ Klune, and finding somebody like TJ Klune, which I would compare you in ways to TJ Klune, as a gay male author, it was really powerful to read his stuff and have him draw me into his world. And so honestly, I just want to say thank you for being a gay male author writing stories like this.
For real.
Thank you. So, I appreciate you saying that.
So before we wrap up the interview, the only question left is, we know that this is going to be a series. This is book 1. When can we expect book 2, and when can we expect book 3, and so on and so on?
So book 3 is book 2 is already out. Symphony for the Devil. It's already out. And that, like I said, because they're all getting kind of new editions, because the third novel in the series, the Beckoning one, will be coming out within the next 10 months or so. Nice. So as a lead up, that's why they're all kind of the series is getting a repush and refurbishment right now, because to build up for this new book, because these books take a while to write. A lot of research goes into them, and shelves of research, and years. And so, but Symphony for the Devil is out now, along with the 2 prequels. It's a 2-part prequel that follows Trevor Blackmoore's mother, Catherine Blackmoore, in 1987 Los Angeles. And it's called Rise of the Nephilim and Fall of the Nephilim. And those are out now. And Blackmoore is doing its rounds. And some new, just cool stuff for the series will be coming out. And that'll be up on my website, marcusjamesbooks.com. Some really cool stuff coming down the pipe. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So obviously we're looking forward to, the rest of the story. So we now know we have book 2, but if you're doing a redo, we want the redo, right?
Yes.
And obviously when book 3 comes out, definitely let us know. We can have you, I always say this to a lot of our guests, once you're here, you're like family. So
thank you.
Let us know that, hey, the book is finally here, the 3rd installment. Let's feature them all together. Let's talk about the story. Let's talk about how, how that journey took place from book 1 through book 2 and 3, and definitely.
Sorry, my hair. I'm sorry.
We've all been complaining about our hair today, except for Jenny.
My hair's a mess.
She doesn't even have any.
Well, Thank
it's
you
quite
so
all right.
much.
So before we let you go, Marcus, if you could sell yourself, darling, give us all of your socials, your website. How can people get a
Yes.
hold of you?
So on Instagram at Marcus James Author. You can find me on Facebook, my official page, which is M James Books. Hold on. I'm old. My brain is not.
That's all right. We're on the same.
You know
page.
how it goes.
Oh,
Give me two. Let me.
jeez.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
way older than you are, honey. Don't worry about it.
He's older than
let's
all of us.
see.
Yeah.
I can just look in the back of my book. All right. Yeah. So my social, Facebook is M James Writer, capital M, capital J, and then Writer, just M James Writer, and then Instagram at Marcus James Author, and then my website is marcusjamesbooks.com.
Awesome.
Nicely done. Well,
Thank
Marcus,
you.
thank you so much for giving us some of your time, for talking about your work. We expect more from you. And please feel free to reach out to us and have us feature your work anytime. And we're looking forward to it.
I will. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your evening.
You
too.
too.
You do the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, ladies and gents, that, of course, was Marcus James. We're going to have all of the information for his book and his website and all that stuff on tonight's post. We'll publish the episode. You'll be able to get all of the information that you need to get access to the book. So you've been reading it. When you're done with it, please hand it over so that, I can start taking my micro naps as I normally do. Because, that's how I read stuff.
Marcus, get on audiobooks. That's my jam.
That's my
So,
That's how I start my mornings.
Oh, my God. With audiobooks, really?
Yeah, I wake up and I pop in my earbuds. I go downstairs. I'm listening to a book. I make my coffee. I make my breakfast. I sit, have my breakfast, my coffee. I listen to about a chapter or two, and then I get in the shower.
Yeah, my favorite thing to do on Tuesday mornings are now my favorite, only because it used to be every day, right? So every day my routine was make my coffee, put Rachel Maddow podcast on, and listen to Rachel. But Rachel stopped doing her show, so she's now only doing it on Mondays. And in her place, now we've got another MSNBC host, Alex Wagner, who's doing Tuesday through Friday. So she only does Mondays. So Tuesday now is officially like my favorite day of the week. Because I wake up, I put Rachel on, I'm telling, Siri to do. And Apple, by the way, fuck you.
What did Apple do?
Here's what Apple did, okay? So now, before we used to say Siri, right? You had to say the H-E-Y.
Nope. You activated her.
Oh, see?
I can do that.
See?
Yeah, sure
And
you
now,
can.
with the new software, you don't have to say H-E-Y anymore. You can just say...
Siri,
Yes.
what's my name? Siri. 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 She don't like me.
No, you don't have the update.
Did you update to 17?
I think so. Hey Siri,
See?
what's my name? No.
So anyway, so now you can just literally say Siri.
Yep. And it
Siri.
activates.
What is my name?
It's Tom Ortiz.
Oh, that's it? Oh, you're nasty.
Yeah, you changed it.
It's supposed to say your most
Siri.
gracious majesty, but
What's my name? She's tired.
She
like
knows-
her owner.
like she don't want to be on the show is what that is.
well,
Yeah. Well, you cursed them out, so.
So anyway, so the whole thing is that with the new update with 17 point whatever we're at now, you don't have to say the word hey anymore. So you just say the name and now it starts responding. And so now when I'm just casually talking about Siri, my phone just, goes
Activates.
nuts. And I'm like, thanks.
mine is 16.7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're behind.
You're behind. You need to update and yeah, it'll be a while. But anyway, yeah, thanks,
It'll be a
Apple.
while.
So what was I talking about that before Siri took me south? Do not start.
Oh wait, no, this is what I wanted to do.
So anywho,
Anywho,
what was I talking about?
We don't know. We don't
See, we're
listen.
getting-
You went on a tangent and we lost you and we lost ourselves
We-
along with you. But just a quick factoid, I guess.
Factoid.
Yeah.
You
So
have those?
so in English we have witch and warlock, right?
Uh-huh.
But in Spanish it's only brujo or bruja.
Uh-huh.
So if you actually try to look up warlock in Spanish, it tells you that the actual translation is brujo.
Yeah, it's bruja. But we
So it's
add
witch. Technically it's witch,
Right.
male or female. That's it.
brujo.
Brujo.
Yeah. But I mean, when you think about, for example, a
Brujas.
lot of the works that have
Brujas, yes.
been released in modern times, and when I say modern times, anything after the 90s, think about, for example, Charmed, right?
Yeah.
When you think about the show Charmed, which I absolutely loved, I was all about Charmed. And it's one of my favorite shows growing up.
Sabrina.
You know, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You always thought about, you know, witches being witches, and they were females, and then, you know, you had some males were called something else. In the show Charmed, they were called warlocks, or whatever it was that they were called. But it was very interesting to see that, you know, there's an intentional, you know, effort to make sure that you're representing the queer community in a way in which the queer community sees itself. If I want to see myself as a goddamn witch, I'm going to be a witch. And there's nothing you can do about that.
Well, girl,
No
we
comment.
all see.
I will slice you.
I was just gonna say.
I will put voodoo under your feet.
No me diga.
No me diga.
Oh my God, yeah, but I love you
The
guys.
curse of the chancla.
The chancla, that's right. I do have one on too. It's gonna be flying. Anywho, all right, let's wrap it up, boys. I'm gonna toss it over to Trish. She's gonna give us, of course, Mama Kim's
Mama
minute.
Kim.
You want your love, baby girl?
All right, everybody. Here's Mama Kim's minute. Number one, former Disney star opens up about undergoing conversion therapy on his days off. Oof.
Yeah, that was good.
Number two, Billy Porter slams Ron DeSantis to Santimonium. He has to meet me. Bring it.
Oh.
Number three, Pete Buttigieg eviscerates Donald Trump for allegedly insulting wounded veterans.
Which I don't doubt. Now, this first story though, former Disney Channel star opens up about undergoing conversion therapy on his day off. So I hope the person who wrote the story got the pronoun correct. Do we know?
No, I think they're talking about like he not trans conversion therapy, like conversion therapy.
Undergoing. Okay, got it. Oh my God.
Like his parents sent him to a fucking camp.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I'm so sorry. See, this is what happens. Anyway, don't drink, people.
Interns.
Don't drink.
And on this day in gay history, brought to you by GayTalk 20,
Let's see how this goes.
September 27th, 2013. That wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, not too bad.
In New Jersey. The New Jersey Superior Court Judge Mary Jacobson rules in Garden State Equality versus Dow. Dow?
Mm-hmm.
That same-sex couples must be allowed by the state to marry, granting a summary judgment to the plaintiffs in the case. Jacobson orders the state to allow same-sex couples to marry by 21st of October 2013.
Right.
This decision is the first U.S. state judicial ruling in the same-sex marriage to cite the landmark's U.S. Supreme Court decision in United States versus Windsor.
Right. So remember that happened in 2013. Marriage equality didn't become a thing until 2015. With when you think about New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, it was always at the forefront of a lot of all this stuff. We had states that were on board, and it wasn't until we got 34. I think we were at 34 states that had already sued to their federal district courts that ruled in some way, shape, or form, banning marriage equality was unconstitutional.
Yeah, I'll never forget when marriage equality went to, I think it was the Supreme Court, or maybe it was the Congress. I can't remember exactly, but somebody said, and I'll never forget it, we want to let it percolate in the states more. As in, the states, we want to see more states allow same-sex couples to marry before we make it a federal law. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, we talked about it on the show, and I think I was the one that actually mentioned that. I said, the Supreme Court.
Of course she was.
We'll go back and listen to some old recordings, but I remember specifically saying that, the Supreme Court is not going to take a case and make such a fundamental change to the way Americans saw marriage until the majority of states come on board, right? And at that point in time, I think we had 32 states that were on board finally because of, judicial rulings at the lower circuit courts, resulting in them states accepting it. And then the holdouts, you get Obergefell versus Hodge and, the whole situation with Edith Windsor. And finally, you get a ruling from the Supreme Court that said, we're here. It's done.
Anyway.
And there will never be a more celebratory Pride weekend in New York City than that weekend, because that ruling came on the Sunday that we were celebrating and marching for Pride.
Yeah.
That same weekend.
She remembers.
Yeah, so I'm just hoping because
She was
most
marching.
no, she wasn't marching.
She was twirling.
Yeah,
She was twirling.
she was
She was munching.
she was doing something.
Mhm.
But anyway, all right, so fantastic. Jaybird, continue.
Moving on to our announcements, I guess, right?
Yes.
If you love the show, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. By subscribing, you get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your favorite device or web browser as soon as the episode is published. You can also support us on Patreon. With Patreon, you, our listeners, can help to support the show with a pledged donation. The donations are collected monthly and can be in any denomination of $1 or more.
Every day you get better and better and better.
Sometimes,
I love you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the
Then
power
your
juice.
then your Guatemalaness kicks
Then it
in, and you're
kicks
like,
in and I get those hiccups. And next week we don't have a guest. That may change, but otherwise,
It better
right
not.
now, as of right now, it's all about the dish.
All right, and thank you to our guest, Marcus James, author of Blackmoore, an LGBTQ paranormal suspense novel. Oh, I keep going. Can I get some love, motherfucker? All right, everybody, get the Future Method and all other products today. All products are doctor developed and can clean you out without hurting your bum.
Queen you or clean you?
Clean you.
And queen you.
Ah. Clean out and then queen out. You can take that confidence anywhere with the anal powder packs, and now increase your stretch goals with the 3-piece anal dilation kit. Yes, Tom, they're working on the 4th piece for you. Visit futuremethod.com to purchase your life-changing bum accessory today.
And also, don't forget to go to the website and take the survey. You can go right to futuremethod.com, take the survey, and then you'll know exactly what you need.
Yeah,
Just
and
don't be extra.
You can
like
use
me.
more than one. You can choose more than one of the options when you're doing the survey. As
Of
well.
course, if one dilator kit doesn't work, get 2.
Get 2.
You can use all 6. I'm just saying.
Double up, triple up.
Double penetration.
And I guess, in the words of Chris Mattoon, it is time to put a
Ring on it.
ring on.
Ring
Ah!
Oh
And
my
as
God.
always, our show is available on our website, GayTalk20.com, under audio podcast. It is also available as a free download on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Stitcher Radio. Nick?
All right, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, GayTalk 2.0. You can email us at gaytalk2.0@gaytalk20.com. Tom,
Give it a try.
we'll see.
Is that what it is? All right. Well, ladies and gents, if you need to reach out to us, just head on over to our website. You can click on the Contact Us tab at the top of your web browser. There you can leave comments. You can suggest topics, submit a question for a cast or an individual host, and so much more. You can also give us our ring and call us and leave us your questions via voice message. We can answer those for you right here on the show. Our phone number is 334 GayTalk, and if you need all those digits, it is 334-429-8255. Ladies, gents, and everyone in between, thank you so much for joining us tonight. That is our show, and y'all have a good night. Bye!
Thank you for listening to this episode of Gay Talk 2.0. Tune in next time for more dish.